Hey guys, in this video I will explain how to recreate a lawn inspired by Studio Ghibli. So, the field is made up of normal grass and various foliage models, which we will not see in this specific video. As you can see, each blade of grass takes the color of the ground. As in this case, it's a technology called real-time virtual texture. Here you can download the project containing a lawn composed of various textures and the RVT ready to use. The download is free, but it's possible to make a small donation. Thank in advance if you do it. This helps to support me and it's a very appreciated action. Let's start from the project that we are going to compose. Thanks to these values, it is possible to change the color of the tip of the grass. Very useful to give a certain effect to the scene. I will show you how to combine various textures and grass models to have these combinations. Okay, let's start from Blender. Create a plane, rotate it on the x-axis by 90 degrees. Decrease its size to 0.3 meters and raise the panel until the lower part is slightly below the red line. Let's start cutting the plane in this way. Precision is not important. Split all the faces with the split tool and separate them like this. Let's take the verticals present in the upper area and lower them to create our blades of grass. The height of the model should be around 30 cm. Now let's position the blades of grass, trying to compose a round shape. Let's copy 5 meshes, Shift D, and place them in a shape always round but larger than before. At this point we join them to have a single object and we modify them slightly. Just do not show the loop of the mesh. Let's modify the height also. As said before, precision is not important. At this point, let's generate the UVs of the model with a tube projection. Let's move all the UVs downwards. And let's rotate these 3. At this point, let's see the normals. Let's go into edit mode and click on the second square on the right of the screen. There are these purple lines and they must point upwards. So let's go to Mesh, Normal, Point to Target. Here let's make them point upwards in this menu. Now we can export our mesh. Let's open UE5 and create a folder named Grass. Create another folder inside it and call it Landscape. Now, under the Landscape tab, generate a landscape. Lower the Z-axis to 0. As you can see, there are various values. For now, let's leave everything like this. Now we have our landscape, which is made up of various boxes that are called streaming proxy. Their number is determined by the previous settings. Now let's create our material for the landscape. Import the image that will compose the grass areas. You'll find the images in the description. Let's match the texture with a curved text so that we can manage the size of it. We match it to a blend layer. For now, it's composed of two entries, grass and ground. We create a color that will compose the ground. From the blend layer node, we generate a runtime virtual texture object. Here we have these two icons that represent the colors attached to the blend layer. We click on the plus button on the right to create the layers in the Finder. As you can see, the texture has been applied to the ground, but it's too small. Thanks to the coordinate textures, we are going to change its size to 0.01. One will be for the color, while the other will be for the height. Under Project Settings, we are going to enable the Runtime Virtual Texture support. Make a restart as recommended. Let's change these parameters related to the files just created. 11, 3 and 2 for the color. Same thing for the height. But let's change under layout in world height. OK. At this point, let's create two real-time virtual textures on the viewport. Let's name them color and height. And for each one, we add the object created previously. With this button, we select the landscape and do a set bound. As you can see, the yellow square expands and becomes as big as the proxy box seen previously. Let's do the same for the height RVT. Now, on the landscape, scroll until we find the section Virtual Texture. Here we create two entries and match them with the color and height items previously created. OK, let's save. Increase the height of the terrain a little. This is to make sure that the yellow box takes the entire landscape in its entirety. Like you can see here. Let's redo the set bound of the two RVTs. At this point, we have everything set up for the runtime virtual texturing implementation. Create another folder, Grass, and import our model created previously in Blender. Let's create a grass type object under the foliage category and name it grass. Here it's possible to modify various parameters to customize the model of the blades of grass. Let's match the model just imported in this box. Now we have to match the grass model to the grass texture drawn on the ground. To do this, we create a landscape grass type in the landscape material. On the left, we create a layer sample node and create an entry with the same name as the blend layer, to which the texture is attached, grass. In the previous node, we add the grass type to which we have matched our model. Now, on the landscape, we can see our blades of grass. By coloring the ground layer, we can see that the grass is not generated because the mesh is applied only on the grass texture. Okay, at this point we are going to color the grass. Let's create a material and pay attention to the following values. Enable the two-side box and under Advanced, uncheck Tangent Space Normal. Let's create a color parameter, 3 plus left mouse click. Promote it to a parameter and call it tip color. And for now, let's give it a greenish color. It will determine the tip of the grass. We add a lerp node, L plus left mouse button, and add a runtime virtual texture output. Let's call it color and enable our color RVT created previously. Let's create the alpha of the lerp node. Create a linear gradient and attach to a -1 node. To multiply. Here we generate a scalar parameters S plus left mouse button, calling it type color strength. This value will determine the strength of the color regarding the tips of the grass. At this point, we create another lerp node. Let's create another scalar parameter and call it shadow intensity. It will generate a fake shadow between the blades of grass. Very useful to make everything more defined. Let's add a 1- and attach it to the alpha of the lerp node. Let's create a multiply to which we attach the two lerps in this way. Let's create a coordinate texture. We attach it to a mask and leave only the G box. Let's add a 1- and attach it to the multiply node. At this point, the color is done. We match a value of 0 to the second and third node of the main material, and a 1 to the fourth node. For the normal, we create a color parameter, by putting one on the Z. The box becomes blue, and then we match a transform vector. Leave the default settings. Let's create a simple wind node. Generate a parameter for each item. And we match it to a multiply node. Create a coordinate texture and add the mask as before, with only the letter G. This will make the grass more attached to the ground. Then a -1 node to reconnect to the multiply node. Let's attach everything in the world position offset. Sorry, small mistake before. Let's change the gradient instead of U gradient, V gradient. At this point, we have created our grass material. Let's create a material instance from the main material, and we match it with our blades of grass. To add order in the material instance, we can categorize the values in family. Color and wind is what we need. Alright, at this point, as you can see, everything is ordered. Let's put the model created in Blender back in the grass type again. In this way, it can generate the grass files. Personally, I prefer to remove the shadow generated by these boxes. They are very heavy in terms of performance. I can manage the fake shadow under shadow intensity in the material instance. Let's increase the wind until we get a result that satisfies us. I want also to increase the height of the grass with these values. The tip color strength allows you to increase the shade of the tip of the grass. Okay, the main notes have been made. I want to change the size of the grass texture to make it a little more full of colors and detail. In this case, with a value of 0.05, will make the grass a little more interesting. With more spot variations. At this point we have all we need to start creating beautiful fields, but I want to show you our step forward to add more quality to our lawns. Let's import another texture, precisely the ground one, that will replace the color created previously. Convert the virtual texture into a regular texture. Do you know why a virtual texture is imported instead of a regular one? I can't understand why. Copy the first grass texture to create a grass variation. Let's change the hue of the image to make it a little more yellowish, precisely around 340. At this point, let's go back to our landscape and let's add the textures we just imported. Let's replace the color with the ground texture. Let's create the third entry to our blend layer and add the grass 2 texture. As you can see, the path has already been colored with our new texture. For the arrows at the top left, let's go here and do a Build All Landscape. This will remove the errors. Always in the landscape material, add a second entry under our output grass. And let's create another grass type. Let's call it grass 2. Here you can change the model. In this case I leave the same model and differentiate only the scale on the Z-axis. Let's call the entry just added in grass 2 and let's attach it to the second node. Then also rename this in grass too. Okay, this is also done. Here there is a bug. I suggest you to change it to weight blend, to weight alpha, and then again weight blend. Otherwise the third texture did not appear in the landscape paint tool. Let's try to color with the new texture. You can see that it's a little lighter, and the height is a little more different, creating a nice overall effect. Let's add more path to see how you can mix more textures. At this point here, by lowering the opacity of the ground, I can mix two textures, creating grass more tending to yellow. It's possible to mix and create a lot of color variations. Here we are at the end of the tutorial. With this system I created all the meadow of my game and this scene. All you have to do now is to start creating your own meadows in a stylized graphic style. Thanks for following the tutorial. See you next time. Bye!